and gentlemen, I am Corey from Super Kami Guru 9000, and welcome to Star Wars for 100 Days, the ultimate fan countdown leading up to the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. Today I'm going to review and discuss Chapter 16 of Clone Wars, the hit animated series from 2003. This episode features Padme Amidala, R2-D2, and C-3PO going on a droid-blasting adventure on the icy planet of Ilum. This episode is very simple, but it also happens to be one of the more funny episodes, or more inadvertently funny episodes of Clone Wars, and that's because we get to see the classic duo of C-3PO and R2-D2 in action for the very first time in the series. And it is worth noting that C-3PO is voiced by Anthony Daniels, the actor who has played him in every single Star Wars movie, and he seems pretty dedicated to actually voicing this character for pretty much any spin-off of the series. That's worth noting because none of the original actors from Star Wars actually appear in Clone Wars to voice their characters. Only the classic golden robot himself. This episode concludes the three-parter Ilum arc, where Yoda is trying to find Master Luminara Unduli and her apprentice Barriss Offee as they're trapped on this icy planet by all of these chameleon droids. Unfortunately, in this episode, you don't get to see a lot of Yoda, but still, getting to see Padme, C-3PO, and R2-D2 go on a little adventure is honestly a lot of fun. And like I said in my previous review, Padme's a lot of fun in this series. She has a lot of spunk. She's very reminiscent of her daughter, Princess Leia, and you get to see a lot of that in this episode, as well as the fact that they continue to basically just rag on C-3PO, who continues to be one of the biggest jokes of the entire Star Wars universe, but honestly, I think he's just as funny here as he is in the movies. In fact, something that I think is really funny about this episode is that when they go out into this giant icy snowstorm, they're suddenly surrounded by all of these chameleon droids, and the way that Padme actually draws them out is that she throws her cloak in the middle of this icy field and orders C-3PO to go after that. What ends up happening is he ends up getting blasted repeatedly and buried in snow, and this is followed by a lot of classic banter from C-3PO as he's freaking out all trapped in the snow. He's just as funny as infectious as he is in the movies. And just before you know it, the episode comes to an end where Yoda arrives with Master Luminara and her apprentice, and they find that these chameleon droids were actually sent by Count Dooku. A couple of things to take away from this episode. 1. Captain Typho. Completely useless. One of the worst bodyguards I've ever seen. He just allows Padme to go off in the middle of this incredibly dangerous wilderness where she could be killed by countless droids. This is the most we're actually going to see from Captain Typho in the Clone Wars series, and that's pretty much the end of his story, at least in the movie versions as well. If you want to learn more about this character, look up his story in the expanded universe. You'll see that things don't quite end up all that well for Captain Typho. But this episode ends one story arc as we get ready to head into another, which is arguably one of the most exciting three-parters in Clone Wars history. I'm talking about Anakin Skywalker and Asajj Ventress. But that is a discussion for another day. What I will say is, this episode was pretty fun. It still featured some really nice writing, some very nice animation. The setting of Ilum is very cool and will bring to mind a lot of memories of the planet Hoth. This was a very nice conclusion to a three-part story, using a lot of these side characters of Star Wars, which again demonstrates that a lot of the characters in the Star Wars universe are just as interesting as the main ones that we follow a lot of. In fact, my favorite thing about Star Wars is just all the characters who are mostly just in the background, getting to learn a little bit more about them. This arc gave us a much better understanding of Luminara Unduli and her apprentice. We got to see Yoda going into action, and Padme got to do something other than just talking about politics and crying on Anakin's shoulder. Before you guys leave today, I would love to hear your thoughts about this chapter of Clone Wars. What do you think about the character of Padme Amidala? Do you like her? Do you hate her? Do you love the classic droids from the series, C-3PO and R2-D2? What kind of antics do you want to see from them in Star Wars The Force Awakens? And make sure to tell me what you guys want to see from that brand new movie. You can tell me all this in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.